Dr. Bandler, what is the question that no one has ever asked you about NLP during an interview that you wish they had?
I don't know, over the years I've been asked a lot of questions. The question that I wish somebody would ask me, I don't really have a question that I wish. I don't think that way. I just answer the questions that people ask me. Mm-hmm. I wish people would steer away from the silly questions, like asking me, where is NLP going? Because that's such a stupid question, because remember, I made it up. It's going to go anywhere I feel like it. And if I knew where it was going, I'd already be there. That to me, the best questions that are out there are the ones that are unanswered. Mm-hmm. And it's all about how to do things faster, easier, quicker, and get more done. And that's always the way I've thought about things. And thinking about them that way, as opposed to, there's always been a value in lots of things on something taking a long time. People brag, like chiropractic colleges. I remember going to one and the guy bragged that it was a 5-year school instead of a 3-year school. Mm-hmm. And when I looked at the guy and I said, do you actually teach people anything extra in those other 2 years? And he turned around and he said, well, of course we do, we have more time. Mm-hmm. But having more time doesn't mean you get more done. Anybody who's ever hired a carpenter knows that. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's ever had repairs done on their house knows that it's not how long they're out there that determines the quality of the work. Mm-hmm. That the quality of the work has to do with the expertise of the person doing it. Mm-hmm. And in psychology and in education, which is even worse about this, people always ask me, they go, how many years of education did you have? Well, I can get a lot more done in a year than most people. I have, year in and year out. Mm-hmm. It's not how many years you went to college. It shouldn't be that, the whole notion of grade levels, that, that everybody knows the same thing by the 3rd grade. It's just ludicrous. Mm-hmm. We all learn at different rates, and what we should be doing is concentrating on accelerating those rates so that we get kids to learn more faster. The fact that when I went to school, they didn't even start teaching you a language till you were in high school, which is way too late. Mm-hmm. And they didn't start teaching you to do any kind of mathematics of any significance till you were in about the 5th or 6th grade. And, if you take a kid like in Tahiti who isn't even in school, put him on the beach, have him panhandle, he'll learn 5 languages to do it. You put him in the educational system and he won't learn any. He hardly can learn to speak the one that he's born with, let alone write it down. To me, this is a comment on the way we're doing things. And instead we keep measuring children and their performance rather than measuring the way we're teaching them. And what we should really realize is that every test we give people is a measure of the teaching tool, not of the person. Mm-hmm. So the notion of learning disabled, the notion, the way we grade people in college. The college I taught at didn't even have grades. They gave them up. And everybody was freaked about it. They went, oh, if we don't have grades in college, students won't try, they won't learn. And I think that we just had pass-fail. And I refused to fail anybody. In fact, it was a problem because they came to me and they said, how could you not fail anyone? And I said, well, because I don't give up on anybody. I would only give pass and incomplete. And, when I gave a test, if somebody didn't do well enough, I'd give them an incomplete and I'd make them go study again and take it over again. Mm-hmm. To me, the notion is it's not that somebody can't learn something, it's that they haven't yet. Yeah. And the people at the college would go, well, maybe they didn't study hard enough. And I go, maybe I didn't motivate them well enough. Mm-hmm. That if you take things as a comment about your ability to do things, which is what I've always done. Mm-hmm. If they send me in the worst psychiatric client, because for 4 decades, everybody I worked with had been given up on by everybody. That's the only reason they let me do it is because they didn't think I could do anything. Mm-hmm. So when psychiatrists would, they go through their list of people and go, oh, this one, nobody can help this one. And they'd bring me in, they'd been to 10 different doctors, they'd done everything, they'd been hospitalized. I had one woman that had been in and out of hospitals for years. She'd had 32 sets of electric shock treatments. And all of this stuff, and they in a big, giant file, and I asked both her and the doctor together, I go, how would you know if she was absolutely cured and well and didn't need to see a shrink ever again? Neither one of them could answer the question. Even the shrink couldn't answer the question. I said, if you have no idea where success is, how have you been trying to help this woman for 8 years? And he said, well, I can tell you what's wrong with her. And I said, well, good. Let's start there. Let's start with behaviors you don't want. And apparently she wasn't in touch with reality because she was constantly thinking of being somewhere other than she was. Well, if I was in a mental hospital, I have to tell you, I'd be thinking of being somewhere else. And she got into the mental hospital because she was married to an unpleasant person and lived in a horrible living environment. So she fantasized being back with her parents. That doesn't strike me as a mental illness. That strikes me as good planning. Now, to me, when I found out, and the electric shock treatment had actually left tremors all over her face and skin. So I started going and making a list. I've got to make it so that she doesn't look geeky, so they'll keep her out of the hospital. I got to get her off of drugs, because I can't tell who she really is. And then I got to teach her to control her mind so that she can make good plans and not take crap off of all these people. And as I make a list of what I want to accomplish, and then I ask the woman, I go, what do you want for your future? If you can have absolutely anything. And, she said to me, she goes, well, I'd like to be happy. And then I go, okay, what would you have to do in order to be happy? Start to ask these questions. She goes, well, I'd like to be living in a good house. I'd like to have a good relationship. Pretty much the same stuff as everybody else. And I go, what stops you? She goes, points to the shrink. And I go, well, we can get rid of him. I have a dog that'll take care of him. I said, once he's gone, are you going to go to another shrink, or are you going to know what to do? Then you start the lessons of life, because if you think of your job as being a teacher rather than some agent of repair, and the trouble with psychology in general is that the whole mindset, even in education, it's all about repairing children as opposed to giving them the mental skills to learn. You can't teach people what to learn, but you can teach them how to learn it. Yeah, if you had to teach people every word that they have to learn to spell, of course it's going to take 12 to 20 years, to go all the way through the dictionary, word by word. First you have to sort the dictionary. What's a first grade word? What's a second grade word? The truth is, every time you spell a word, it's one picture. Whether it has 20 letters in it or 3 letters, it's still just one picture. So if you teach people to make pictures of words, make sure they're the right picture, then they can go back and look at that picture and copy the letters down. And as soon as the machine is there, every time they look at a word, they'll end up with a picture. Now, once you put these nice learning machines in people's heads, then they can do things. And it's not just true about spelling and writing and drawing, it's true about all kinds of things. People have to listen to the sound of their voice, or they can't communicate. It's just that simple. When you have people who don't have good relationships, it's because they don't have a real good idea of what they are. They didn't grow up in a happy home, so they don't know what one's supposed to look and sound like. And it doesn't look like it is in the movies because, and it doesn't look like it is on TV because relationships go on for more than an hour. So they have to have a monitoring system that constantly goes in and, ask the right question. Am I treating this person well? Am I telling them what I want? Am I showing them how to act? All of these things, and it becomes important. Instead, we fill people with bad post-it note suggestions. We tell them, if your parents are alcoholics, you'll be an alcoholic. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Like we can't change, and the truth is, people change all the time. It's the easiest thing to do. For 4 decades, I haven't run up against anybody that couldn't. I had to kick a little harder to get them there, but one way or the other, you get them there.
Okay. Richard, could you please share with our viewers which has been your experience here in Barcelona with Talent Institute, please?
Well, I obviously people were excited. They were outside the door 2 hours before I got here.
It's true.
I like that. I like enthusiasm. We picked a really good holiday. It's sort of the equivalent of Valentine's Day in America.
Yes.
There were all the people on the street with flowers and books. What a great idea that there's a holiday where people buy each other books. I think that's fabulous. I would very much like to come back to Barcelona. I found Barcelona a really nice place. Unfortunately, I missed the first 3 days. I was going to explore the city, but I can only blame it on a volcano. And how mad can you get at a volcano? But it's apparent to me that people are really trying very hard to learn. And of course, with your help, things have worked out well. We have a good translator, so even the people that don't speak English seem to be doing very well. To me, I travel all over the world. I go lots and lots of places. And some places I go are just way too freaking serious, to tell you the truth. You go in and, everybody's taking notes and comparing this with something else. And I didn't find any of that kind of nonsense here. were only 3 girls in the front that tried to take notes, and they didn't even know why they were taking them. But you know, if people have a sense of experimentation, then my work is fit for them, because you know, it's not what you think you know, it's what you can do that counts. And so it's kind of a festive weekend, so I think it's been really good. I only get 1 day off here, and I get to go see Salvador Dali's work, and I think he's a fabulous artist. I got a tour in a taxi cab yesterday, and buildings flew by, and he kept telling me what they were. I saw an unfinished cathedral.
Yes.
Kind of a metaphor for me. I like the idea that art is never finished.
Okay, so thank you very much. We are very, very happy to have you here in Barcelona, and we hope that you will come very soon here again.
Me too. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.